Welcome to another video in our series on the Kanban guide. Nisha is just positioning herself, so she's ready as well. We have with us
Prateek Singh.
Thanks for being with us, Prateek. In this video, we're going to be talking about optimization. Those of you who've read the guide, and hopefully you have read the guide if you're watching these videos, you'll note that we're very careful about using the word optimization. I don't think the word maximization shows, or maximizing or anything like that, shows up anywhere in the guide. Why not, Prateek?
It actually does show up, but in a negative sense, to say we don't want you to maximize this. It doesn't show up to say we want you to maximize these things. We want you to optimize the combination of these things, and those things are,
thank you,
being efficient, being effective, and being predictable. Those are the three qualities of the system that we are trying to optimize, the balance of those three.
Yeah, so this is a little bit different stance than maybe you've heard about Kanban systems before. I think there's a bit of a misnomer out there that Kanban systems are all about maximizing efficiency, and then there's this metric, flow efficiency, that we probably won't get to in this series, but we'll cover at some point, and we have covered. And that's just a myth. It's not about maximizing any one of those things, because each one of those things are constrained. Yes, we could maximize any one of those elements, but probably to the detriment of the others. So I don't know, particularly, would you like to maybe start stepping us through, one of those,
yeah.
and like in the guide, like how efficiency? What do we mean by optimizing efficiency?
Yeah, optimizing efficiency. I mean, you kind of give a nod to flow efficiency there, but the guide takes a slightly different view of it. It is to say, hey, every system has certain economic resources available to it. How do we best utilize them in order to optimize for value? How do we, that's what optimizing efficiency means. How do we deliver value by most optimally allocating our economic resources?
And Yogi Berra strikes again. But it's it's true, and to make sure, before anybody gets really upset at us, you did, and the guide talks very specifically about economic resources. Mm-hmm. We're not necessarily calling people resources, although technically people are economic resources, but we're talking about time, we're talking about money, we're talking about anything that you're investing in terms of getting something done. Yeah. So all right. So that's efficiency. How are we optimally allocating those economic resources? What about effectiveness?
Yeah, that's the probably multiple Agile frameworks talked about the balance between efficiency and effectiveness. And something that's effective, a workflow that's effective, is one that delivers the value that the customers want. Like, how do we make sure that what the value items, the work items that are flowing through, those are the ones that customers want? That's an effective workflow.
And as an interesting aside, we could use the oft quoted but the oft misattributed quote about Henry Ford. Isn't that the quote, yeah, where he says, "If I listen to my customers, all I would give them is faster horses." And that's really kind of the point. Is a lot of times your customers really don't know what they want, and we could spend all of our time just doing whatever our customers want, but that would be to the detriment of efficiency and what we're going to get into the third one, which is the third kind of point of the triangle.
Third leg of the stool.
But whatever, yeah. That one.
Yeah, predictable. And a predictable workflow is one where we can actually forecast. We can say, hey, we expect this thing to get done by this time. I mean, obviously there'll always be some noise in that forecast. There'll always be some uncertainty there, but a predictable workflow is where we can forecast that. And hopefully everyone can see how these three things kind of play with each other. As Dan was saying, if we're trying to constantly do what the customers ask us to do, we would repeatedly be stopping work to start some other work. We would repeatedly be switching between things. That would probably make our workflow less predictable and less efficient.
Look at that, QED. And just for clarity, we should say we're not saying don't ever listen to your customers. We're just saying you have to balance what your customers are asking for against some of these other constraints on your system. Anything else to add in terms of optimization versus maximization?
Yeah, I think we covered this right at the beginning, but it bears repeating that if you try to maximize one of these, you're probably going to sub-optimize the other two. So you're balancing these three things. It's kind of a three-body problem, not exactly, but you're balancing these three things to come up with optimal outcomes for people who receive the output of the system.
And so there you have it. Remember, Kanban is a strategy to optimize flow. Very, 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 very careful about choosing that word optimization. Hopefully that's a little clearer why we took the approach that we did. As always, you can find out more by reading the Kanban guide itself, but as well going to the ProKanban.org site. So thank you so much for watching this, and we will see you in the next episode.
Yep.